To be honest with you, I am not a computer techie. And having said that, I want to be also honest with you that I live on the computer. I teach online. I have a website, and most of my life is spent in front of a computer. And I've had Dell computers for years and years. And one of the reasons is I was happy with the Dell product, and also I had read things about the CEO, Mr. Dell, and how active he was in certain issues that I agreed upon. And so I've always maintained the use of going to Dell computers. Even though friends of mine who were into the techies, those kinds, suggested other computers. But it was doing it partly for, I was happy with my Dell product, and I was also doing it because of what Mr. Dell was doing. Last fall, I had to get a new computer. I needed more memory, and so I bought a new Dell with 1 terabyte memory. Installed it, got everything all working, and there were a couple of little problems. But since I spend so much time online teaching, I just put those things off and off and off. And finally, I was having real problems, and I was spending more time with the computer freezing up and a multitude of problems than I was online teaching online. So I called tech support at Dell. Got transferred to somebody in India, and it took weeks. But on 3 different occasions, I spent a total of about 10 hours on the telephone talking to some techie who was going to solve all my problems. And so they did some tests. They said, well, the problem is this. They fixed the problem, which made more problems. And then, we did this over and over again. Finally, they concluded that it was a software problem and that I had to buy a software tech support from them for $250 or something like that. And I really had no other choice. I was caught between a rock and a hard spot because I was teaching and having problems with my computer. So I said, go ahead, do it. They went through a lot of analyses, and they concluded that they had to delete Windows 10. And what do I know? So I allowed them to do it. That was a fatal mistake. They deleted things. It was a mess. And there I was teaching various classes online, trying to do my web page, and my web page related to some of my classes, so I had to get articles up and interviews and photographs and things. And I was going bananas. So I had spent probably a total of about $1,700 on this computer. Adding to some of that $1,700 was transferring old files to new file to Geek Squad. Some of it was the $250 on their software tech support in India, and the rest of it was on the computer. And I couldn't get it fixed. And I'm not a millionaire, but I went out and got an HP for roughly the same amount of money as a Dell computer. And have had no problems with my HP. I wrote to Mr. Dell just over 3 months ago, explaining what I've gone over quickly with you about the problems that I was having with his tech support, and told him that I had spent out of my pocket about $1,700, and then went out and bought a new computer. And I'm sure, it hasn't happened yet, I'm sure though, that Mr. Dell is looking into this now. I sent a letter to him just over 3 months ago. And he has all of the data and all of the numbers and the serial numbers and tech support email and things like that. But I haven't heard from him yet, which, it's 3 months, seems like a little bit of a long time, but hopefully when I send it to Mr. Dell in his office address, I hope he got it, because if he got it, he would have acted, certainly within the next week or two. The nagging fear is that somebody opened it and threw it away. But if you know of anybody in the Dell office, the home office, you might want to call them and say, you're going to look at this webpage of Campbell's. And I mean, I'm telling you the honest truth about why I bought my first Dell. It was because of the CEO and what I read about him. And I've had many Dell computers. So there is a gap in my head between what I believed about Mr. Dell and his corporation and what I'm getting at the end of my relationship with the Dell Corporation. And I had no other choice other than to go out and get another computer. I wasn't going to replicate the same problem that I had with another Dell. So if you know anybody that knows anybody at Dell, give them the link to this article. But when I finally have this thing resolved, I'll certainly put it up on the web to let other people see the resolution of my problem with. And it's only been one Dell product that I've had major problem with. And the other issue is I had a problem with the machine. But the major problem was with their tech support. I teach humanities. I don't care anything about technology. And I don't want to go into business. That's just not my interest. But my suspicion is that Mr. Dell needs to know something about his tech support. When I asked them, they said, oh, we'll do it right away. Weeks later, every time they tried to fix something, it was worse. Until they deleted not just Windows 10, but loads of other things. So I appreciate your listening to my venting, but I'll tell you, when you teach online and when you write for your website, and that's my workaday life, and I was having nothing but chaos once I called their Dell support. So if you know of anybody at Dell, pass this on. Thank you very much.